Leo, you awake?
I answered the phone.
That doesn't mean anything. You once answered the phone in your sleep and gave me your grandmother's pasta recipe.
That recipe was correct, actually. Every step.
It was 11 steps long, Leo.
Good pasta has 11 steps. This is not a debatable point.
I cannot sleep.
Same. I've been staring at the ceiling fan for 40 minutes, which is long enough that I've started making up a backstory for it.
Is it on?
Yeah?
Mine too. I keep thinking it's going to fly off and decapitate me.
Statistically, very unlikely.
Tell that to my brain at midnight.
What's going on? You've got that voice.
What voice?
The voice where you called me, but you're going to make me work for the actual reason.
I do not do that.
You spent 40 minutes talking about your neighbor's wind chimes before you told me you'd been fired.
I was not fired. I was let go as part of a restructuring.
You were fired.
Fine. But the wind chimes were relevant. They woke me up at 6 that morning, and I was already in a terrible mood before any of the other stuff happened.
Context matters. Noted. So, give me some context.
Do you remember Marcus Webb?
Marcus Webb. The CEO? Vanguard Systems?
That's the one.
Yeah, he was everywhere for like 3 years and then just wasn't. I always assumed it was a health thing or a buried scandal.
Everyone assumed something. That was half the thing, right? He left no explanation, no memoir, no podcast tour, no LinkedIn post about his learnings. He just stepped back and disappeared. A man worth roughly $300 million, and he just opted out of being visible.
Which, when you say it like that, sounds kind of incredible.
I know.
Like, genuinely. Most people at that level need the visibility the way they need oxygen.
I know, Leo.
Why are we talking about Marcus Webb at midnight?
Because I saw him last week.
I'm sorry, you what?
I saw him in person 3 feet away.
Where?
Okay, you know that dive bar on Clement Street near the park? The one that smells like wood and old newspapers?
With a taxidermied fish above the door. I've been there. It's great.
Right, so I was there Thursday because Priya had to bail on dinner and I didn't want to go home. I'm sitting at the bar, minding my own business, and I hear this laugh.
A laugh.
Not just any laugh. Leo, it was so unguarded, this full-body laugh, like someone who has completely stopped caring whether they look dignified. You don't hear that a lot, not in the places I've been spending time.
No, you really don't.
So I look over, and it's him, in a corner booth with 2 other guys playing actual cards. He's got a beer in front of him, a cheap one in a can, not even a glass, and he's wearing a flannel shirt with what I'm pretty sure is a small hole in the elbow.
Wow.
And I want to be precise about this because I've been turning it over in my head all week. He looked happy. Not the resigned kind of happy, not the kind of happy where you have made peace with your losses. Actually happy, present, like the whole rest of the world had been switched off and he was exactly where he wanted to be.
Did he see you?
I don't think so. I just watched him for a few minutes, which I realize sounds creepy.
It sounds human.
I kept waiting for the flicker, you know, that moment where the performance cracks and you see the real thing underneath, because we're so used to reading people in public as slightly curated. But there was nothing. He had no idea there was anyone in that room who recognized him, and he was exactly the same.
That's the tell, isn't it? When there's no audience and nothing changes.
Yeah.
How long has it been since he left Vanguard?
About 4 years.
I vaguely remember hearing something once that he gave one interview to some tiny independent publication, and I couldn't even tell you where I saw it.
That's the one. I dug it up right after I saw him. He talked about spending the first 30 years of his career learning how to be impressive, and the next part learning how to be real. He said the impressive version could raise capital and close deals, but couldn't sit still for 10 minutes without checking his phone.
That's a hard thing to admit publicly.
He also said he'd started gardening.
Gardening.
Tomatoes. Maybe squash?
A $300 million man growing squash.
and laughing that laugh in a dive bar on a Thursday night.
Good for him. I genuinely mean that. Good for him.
Me too. But here's the thing, Leo. Here's why I can't sleep.
Okay?
His old seat, the CEO chair at Vanguard. It's been a revolving door since he left. 3 different people in 4 years. The board keeps getting it wrong.
I read something about that. A piece about how Vanguard lost its identity after Webb.
Yes, and now there's another search happening. Can I tell you something I'm genuinely not supposed to tell anyone?
Sarah, I'm lying in bed talking to my ceiling fan. Who am I going to tell?
My boss, Craig, is trying to get that seat.
Craig? Your Craig?
My Craig, yes.
Craig, who once sent a company-wide email with a motivational quote he'd attributed to Winston Churchill that was actually from a 2009 life coach blog?
The very same.
Okay, I mean, ambition is a human right. Even Craig has a right to be ambitious.
Sure, but ambition is not the problem here, Leo.
Then what is?
He's trying to blackmail someone to get it.
I'm sorry, he's what?
There's a board member at Vanguard. His name doesn't matter right now. This board member has some personal history he would very much not like made public. And Craig has obtained information about that history, and he is using it as leverage to get this man to advocate for him in the CEO search.
How do you know this?
Because I found it. By accident. Craig uses the shared drive for everything. He is not, and I say this charitably, a technically sophisticated person. He prints out emails and highlights them in yellow and then asks his assistant to summarize them.
Oh, no.
He had a folder in the shared drive labeled, and I need you to really appreciate this, Q for Strategic Communications.
Of course he did.
I was looking for a deck from last quarter. I opened the wrong folder, and there it was. A thread of correspondence with someone I don't recognize, compiled background research on this board member, and a draft message that was, Leo, it was not subtle, not dressed up in corporate language. It was very plainly, if you don't support my candidacy, this information becomes available to certain journalists.
Whew. Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay, I have several questions.
Go ahead.
First, did you close the folder immediately?
Within 30 seconds. My hands were shaking.
Does Craig know you saw it?
I don't think so. I didn't forward it, screenshot it, or tell anyone. I just closed it and sat at my desk for 20 minutes staring at nothing.
And what are you going to do?
I don't know. That's why I can't sleep.
Okay, let me think for a second.
Take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
How long ago did this happen?
5 days ago, which is also when I stopped sleeping.
And you've just been carrying this alone for 5 days?
I couldn't. Who was I going to tell? I can't tell anyone at work. I can't tell Craig. I have a therapist, but I only see her every 2 weeks, and my next appointment isn't until Tuesday.
You could have called me sooner, Sarah.
I know. I think I was hoping it would turn out to be nothing, that I'd find some innocent explanation. I keep re-examining my memory of it, but there isn't one. It was exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, it sounds like it was. Look, and I want to be careful because I know this is your livelihood and your actual life, but I think you already know what you have to do.
If I report it, I blow up my job.
Maybe?
Not maybe, definitely. Even if Craig got fired, I'd still be the person who reported my boss, the person who created chaos. No one in that office would trust me again. And Craig has allies in that building, Leo, people who would make things very difficult.
I know.
And I've been there almost 3 years. I've built real relationships. I actually like most of my colleagues. I like the work, even when I don't like Craig. And the job market right now, you know what it is.
I know what it's like. I'm not saying it's simple.
I'm saying you know what the right thing is, and you're scared of the cost, which is completely understandable. Both of those things can be true at the same time.
When did you get wise?
45 minutes with a ceiling fan and counting. Things clarify. Can I tell you what I keep thinking about?
Please.
My dad used to say, you can't build a kingdom on a foundation of crushed bridges. He wasn't a philosophical man, my dad. Hardware store, baseball, very strong opinions about sandwich bread, that kind of man.
The sandwich opinions were basically a religion.
Bordering on ideology, yes. But this one thing he said, I keep coming back to it more the older I get. You can't build something lasting on a foundation of people you used and burned on the way up. Because at some point, those relationships become the load-bearing structure. And if you've already incinerated them, the whole thing collapses.
Craig hasn't thought about that.
Craig is playing the short game. He wants the title and the salary and the photograph and the trade press. And he's so focused on getting to the destination that he's poisoning the entire road.
Even if it works, even if he actually gets the seat.
Especially if it works. Because now he walks into that boardroom with an enemy already waiting. A board member who hates him and fears him in equal measure. And scared people with resources don't fight back immediately, Sarah. They wait. They find the right moment. And Craig will never see it coming because he'll think the leverage still holds.
But it won't.
Leverage is the most brittle form of power there is. It depends on the threat staying credible and the person staying scared. But people stop being scared eventually. They get lawyers, they get brave, they get angry. And then what you thought was a security system turns out to be a bomb you built inside your own house.
He really hasn't thought this through.
He's thought about the getting, not the keeping, and definitely not the cost of every next relationship he's going to need. Every single person is a potential bridge, and he is standing there with a box of matches.
While Marcus Webb is playing cards in a dive bar.
Yeah, while Marcus Webb is playing cards in a dive bar.
Do you think Webb saw it coming? Like, do you think there was a moment where he understood that the way he was operating wasn't sustainable?
What do you mean?
Nobody gets to where Webb was without making hard calls. Nobody gets to that level without some ruthlessness. That's just how those structures work. So was there a version of Webb that was closer to Craig? Someone who leveraged and maneuvered and used people as instruments?
That's a genuinely good question.
Because if so, the story isn't just Webb is a good person and Craig is a bad one. The story is that Webb figured something out, that some calculation changed.
Or a moment cracked something open. I think some people operate a certain way for years and then something just breaks the mechanism. They look at what they've built and who they've become, and the gap between those two things is so enormous they can't keep going the way they were.
The impressive version versus the real version.
Right. And some people close that gap by doubling down on the performance. They become even more of the impressive version. And some people close it by burning the impressive version to the ground and going to play cards at a bar on Clement Street.
And growing tomatoes.
And growing tomatoes.
I wonder if he gets lonely sometimes. Webb. I wonder if there are moments where he misses the sensation of mattering, the way every room reorients when you're at that level. Every conversation has gravity around you. And then suddenly you're just a guy in a flannel shirt and no one in the room knows your name.
Some people will call that freedom.
Some people would, but I think it's an acquired taste. I think some people were wired to understand belonging through hierarchy, where rank is how you read connection, and when you remove the rank, the connection disappears with it.
That's genuinely sad.
It is, but it's also a choice, isn't it? Not one dramatic choice, 1,000 small ones over years, where you let the role become the relationship.
And Craig is making those choices right now, one after another, without understanding what he's constructing.
And you're the only one who knows.
Well, you're the only one who knows.
Right. Me.
Okay, let's be practical for a second, because I think we can circle this all night. What are your actual options?
Option 1. I do nothing. I never open that folder. I go back to work Monday, and I am a completely normal employee.
And?
And if Craig gets that seat, I've had a passive hand in it. And if it unravels later, which it will, I might be implicated just for having known and stayed quiet.
Passive complicity is still a position. What's option 2?
I report it internally, HR, Craig's boss, whatever ethics channel we technically have, which is the clean option on paper.
But a grenade in practice.
Yes. And then there's option 3. I go directly to the board member.
Huh.
Not to make myself a player, not to leverage anything myself, just to let him know that someone outside this situation is aware of what's being done to him, that he's not just a trapped man the world has moved on from.
This actually interesting.
It would mean reaching out to someone I have zero relationship with. It could backfire completely. I have no idea how he'd respond to a stranger calling him and saying, "Hey, by the way, my boss is trying to blackmail you."
But it could also be what actually protects you. If you go to HR and Craig finds out, Craig comes after you. But if the board member knows, he has every incentive to contain it, because he doesn't want this to go further either.
He just wants it gone, without the threat.
Right. And your appearance changes his calculation entirely. Craig's plan only works if no one else knows. The moment you showed up, the plan already had a hole in it.
Craig didn't account for the shared drive.
Craig doesn't account for what he doesn't know. That's his whole pattern.
What would you do if you were me?
I'd call a lawyer first. Before I did anything else, I'd want to know what my actual legal exposure looks like and whether there's a protected way to disclose what I know.
A whistleblower thing.
Something like that. Because you stumbled onto this, Sarah. You didn't seek it out. You didn't participate in it. The law actually has specific language for that situation that might give you more protection than you're assuming.
I hadn't even thought about that angle.
You've been treating this like your only two choices are silence or sacrifice. But there might be a third path that starts with knowing your rights before you decide what to do with what you know.
Whew. Okay, yeah, that's actually helpful. I've been spinning between extremes.
You have a friend from law school, Vanessa?
She does corporate law.
Close enough. She'll know who to call, even if it's not her exact area.
She would want to do this correctly, with full documentation.
Perfect. Let her want that for you. Vanessa is your first call Monday morning.
Before coffee?
During coffee. She seems like a person who respects the process.
She really does.
Good.
I feel slightly less like I'm going to sing through my mattress.
The mattress will hold.
Can I tell you something weird?
You've been telling me weird things for 20 years. Please don't stop now.
Seeing Webb that night, it helped. Even before I knew any of this Craig stuff. Just watching him exist completely outside that world, looking like a man who had found something real on the other side of all of it. It made the whole structure feel more optional than I usually let myself believe.
What do you mean, optional?
I mean, we move through these professional worlds like they're immovable, like the hierarchy is geology, like the rules about who rises and how and what you have to tolerate. We treat it like gravity, like it just is. And then there's a man who is literally at the top of one of those structures, and he just stepped out of it, and he's fine. He's more than fine. He's laughing in a bar on a Thursday, which is more than most people in those buildings ever get.
More than Craig is going to get. Even if he gets everything he's trying to get.
Which he won't.
Which he won't. You know what I keep coming back to? The reciprocity of it all. And I don't mean it in a mystical way. I mean it as something actually observable.
Say more.
What you put into the human network around you tends to come back. Not immediately, not in any direct transactional way, but over time, the people you helped tend to help you. The people you protected tend to protect you. And the people you burned or used or threatened tend to be exactly the ones who are there when the building starts to shake.
I've watched that happen to real people.
I've watched people who were genuinely warm and trustworthy, not as a strategy, just as who they actually were. And the difference in how they land when things go wrong is just stark. When a job disappears or a deal falls apart, you see it clearly.
Webb disappears and people still mourn him. The company can't find its identity without him.
And Craig gets that seat, and the first thing in the room with him is a board member who is afraid and furious and already waiting for the right moment.
And Craig won't understand why it's hard. He'll think the board member is just difficult. He'll never connect it back to this choice.
That's the cruelest part of it, actually. The punishment doesn't come with a note explaining what it's for.
Well, Marcus Webb figures out whether the squash needs more water.
I really love that image.
Me too. I had a moment last month that's been sitting with me. My skip level, Dana, she's good. She's actually thoughtful. She was in this budget meeting, and one of the new analysts, this kid named Jake, brought up something that would have genuinely helped the wider company but cost our department some resources. And Dana just redirected, very smoothly, complimented him, moved the room on, and the idea evaporated.
And the kid never knew.
He got a compliment. He went home happy. And something real just got quietly buried to protect a line item. I didn't say anything either.
What would you have said? In that room, in that structure, she wasn't wrong by the rules of the game. She was protecting her territory. That's how the game works.
I know. But I went home feeling like I'd watched something get stolen, and I'd been a bystander.
Craig's version of that is just more extreme. He's not redirecting a meeting, he's threatening a person. But the operating principle isn't so different. Use what you have to advance your position. Don't count the collateral.
At what point does it just become your personality?
When you stop noticing you're doing it.
Craig doesn't notice.
Craig has reclassified it as strategy in his own mind. The thing I find most tragic about it is he probably doesn't even need to do this. He has real skills, real relationships in the industry. There's probably a version of this where he campaigns for that seat legitimately, and it actually works.
I've thought about that too. He could make a real case.
But he doesn't trust the real case. He doesn't trust that what he's genuinely built is enough. So he goes looking for something that feels more controllable, and the blackmail feels like a guarantee in a way that merit never does.
Except it's the opposite of a guarantee. It's a timer.
It's a bomb he's built inside his own house, and he thinks it's a security system.
That is a really good way to put that.
Can I tell you something? And I'm not saying this to make it about me. I'm saying it because I think it's actually relevant.
Go ahead.
I do a version of what Craig does. A much smaller version, a version that doesn't hurt anyone, but the mechanism is the same.
What do you mean?
At work, when I'm in a meeting and I know something, I sometimes hold it back. Not to protect the company, not because the timing's wrong. I hold it back because I want to be the person who has it. I want the moment when I say it and everyone's head turns. I want the points.
Leo.
I know it's not blackmail. Nobody gets hurt. But the instinct underneath it, the thing that makes me hold the card instead of just playing it, that's the same instinct Craig is running, just dialed way down.
I hoard compliments.
What?
When someone says something nice about my work, something I could pass along to the team, I don't always. I let it land on me and I keep it, like it's a resource with a limited supply and sharing it costs me something.
Yeah.
And nobody would ever call that a character flaw. It's so small. It doesn't show up on any report, but I know I do it. And when I do it, I feel slightly worse about myself for about half a second, and then I move on and forget about it until the next time.
That half second is the interesting part.
What do you mean?
That half second is you still noticing. Craig has lost the half second. Whatever internal signal used to fire when he did something that wasn't quite right, it just doesn't fire anymore. The behavior got so normalized, it stopped registering as a choice.
The half second is the conscience light on the dashboard.
Right. And most people's light still works. It flickers. You see it, you feel it, and then you choose whether to act on it or ignore it. But if you ignore it enough times, it stops coming on. And then you're not even making a choice anymore. You're just on autopilot toward whatever serves you.
Craig's light is off.
I think it's been off for a while. And the tragedy of it isn't that he's evil. The tragedy is that he probably started out with the light on. There are probably moments 10 years ago, 15 years ago, where he felt that flicker and decided it was inconvenient. And each time he decided that, and he's very confident about the direction he's heading.
I don't want my light to go out.
I know. That's why you called me.
I called you because I can't sleep.
You called me because you found something that made the light flicker, and instead of ignoring it, you picked up the phone at midnight. That's not a small thing, Sarah. That's actually the whole thing.
Do you think we get better at this as we get older? Or just better at rationalizing?
Both probably, at the same time. The rationalizing gets more sophisticated, and the noticing gets more precise, and you end up in this permanent negotiation with yourself about which one's winning.
That sounds exhausting.
It's called being a person,
Is that what this is?
apparently.
I think that's why Webb got to me. It wasn't just that he looked happy. It was that he looked like someone who had resolved the negotiation. Like he'd stopped fighting himself and just landed somewhere. And it was a real place, not a performance of a place.
Most people never get there. They just get tired.
Getting tired and getting there look the same from the outside, don't they? Someone who's just worn down and someone who's genuinely made peace, they're both sitting quietly in a flannel shirt.
But one of them is laughing.
Yeah, one of them is laughing.
Yeah.
Do you think I'll be okay? Whatever I decide?
Yeah. I think you'll be okay.
You say that with a lot of confidence for someone who doesn't know what I'm going to do.
I know you. That's enough.
What if I do the wrong thing? What if I stay quiet to protect myself and it all comes out later and I look complicit? Or what if I report it and Craig figures it out and makes my life hell for the next 6 months?
Both of those are things you can survive.
Can I?
Sarah, you've rebuilt from actual rubble before. A hard few months at work, even a genuinely terrible few months, is not the end of your story.
It feels significant.
It is significant. Significant things are still survivable, and whatever version of you gets through this is going to know something about herself that she didn't know going in,
What's that?
that she didn't look away when it was easier to look away.
I haven't decided anything yet.
No, but you called me at midnight instead of pretending you hadn't seen what you saw. That already tells me something.
You know what my first thought was when I saw Webb in that bar? Before I even knew it was him.
What?
I thought, that's someone who figured out the thing.
The thing.
Just the thing. Not the rules, not the strategy, not the game. The actual shape of a life that feels like yours. And I thought it before I had any idea who he was. Just a stranger laughing at cards, and I thought, that man knows the thing.
Yeah.
I want to know the thing.
I think that wanting is the beginning of knowing.
That's either very profound or something off a teabag.
Those categories are not mutually exclusive.
Leo,
Yeah?
thank you for picking up.
I was awake anyway.
I know, but still. The law of reciprocity,
Yeah?
it goes both ways. It's not only the bad stuff coming back around.
Right. The good stuff returns too. That's the actual law.
So Craig is building a bomb, but Webb built something else. And that something else is still moving through the world, even though he's not in that boardroom anymore. People still talk about his tenure. The company still shows the shape of who he was.
Yeah.
Someday, somewhere, someone is going to open a folder they weren't supposed to open, and instead of finding a threat, they'll find evidence of the opposite, of someone who quietly covered for a colleague, or went to bat for a junior employee with a good idea, or didn't take credit they could have taken.
That happens too.
I want to be the kind of folder that's safe to open.
You call Vanessa on Monday, Sarah.
First thing,
Before you decide anything, just know what you know.
just know what I know. Good night, Leo.
Night.